The expression x to the negative 2 y to the 1/2 divided by x to the 1/3 y to the negative 1, where x is greater than 1 and y is greater than 1, is equivalent to which of the following? Now this sounds like a really complicated problem, but remember what we found out is that there's always a concept behind every question, and the concept behind this is basically exponents. How do we deal with the exponents? Also notice there's some miscellaneous information over here that x is greater than 1 and y is greater than 1. While that may be true, it's really not relevant to us, nor do we need it for this question. So let's just dive right in. How do you divide numbers that have the same base? We have x to the negative 2 divided by x to the 1/3. We said when the bases are the same, you keep the base and you simply subtract the exponents. So you subtract the denominator from the numerator. And we do the same thing for the y values. We have y to the 1/2 minus negative 1. And just doing a little bit of arithmetic, we need to get these two to have a common denominator. And we can multiply this first one by 3. And you find that we end up with x raised to the negative 6 minus 1 over 3. And we end up with y. These minuses become a plus, so it's really 1 plus 1/2, and that's really 3 over 2. So we can clean up this one a little bit more, and what are we going to end up with is x to the negative 7 over 3 and y to the 3 over 2. Please remember that we are not allowed to have negative exponents, so we have to fix that, and fixing this is super simple. You simply move whatever has the negative exponent to the bottom if it's on top, or if you move it up if it's on the bottom. So to fix this, it's just going to be y raised to the 3 over 2 divided by x raised to the 7/3. Now when you glance over to the answers, you find a lot of these are in radical form. That means we cannot leave our answers in fraction exponent format. So we have to change these around. And how do we do that? Well, let's move over here so we can illustrate. Recall that when you have a fractional exponent, the denominator is the root. So if it's a 2, we have a square root of y to the 3rd power over this other denominator has a denominator of 3. So we know that this is now a cube root of x to the 7th. And the question here is, how many groups of 2, because square root, how many groups of 2 can we find from y to the 3rd? We only have 1, so that 1 comes out, and we are left with a y in there. And on the denominator, we ask ourselves, how many groups of 3 do we have in x to the 7th? And if you've guessed 2, you would be correct. So we have an x squared on the outside, and then we're left with a cube root of x on the inside, which makes D the correct answer to this question.